Displaced Palestinians making their way home in northern Gaza. Colombia sends aircraft to repatriate citizens living in the US. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching World Today. Malaysia and Indonesia have agreed to leverage the strengths of both countries to enhance cooperation in various fields, including defence. Prime Minister Dato' Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that Indonesia has extensive experience in defence and Malaysia is ready to explore any potential cooperation opportunities.
Dan harus ada kesediaan pihak Malaysia untuk melihat apa-apa yang mungkin tidak dibolehi dari Indonesia dan itu lebih utama ketimbang memperolehi atau membeli dari negara-negara lain. Jadi hal itu sekiranya ada bukan saja persefahaman, kedekatan, keyakinan dan trust di kalangan pimpinan dan pasukan pimpinan.
Meanwhile, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto expressed confidence that Malaysia will be able to resolve long-standing border and labour issues with Indonesia in an orderly and efficient manner. He said while the issues of borders and labour have been a topic of discussion between the two neighbouring nations for some time, they can be addressed effectively with the leadership's political will to cooperate. They said this at a joint press conference with visiting Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto at the Petronas Twin Towers yesterday. Displaced Palestinians commenced their return to homes in the northern Gaza Strip yesterday, marking the first such return since Israel initiated military actions against the enclave in October 2023. According to Anadolu Agency, Hamas characterized this return as a victory for their people and a defeat for Israel and its expulsion plans. The senior leader Izzat Arishk stated that the return of displaced individuals to their homes once again demonstrate the failure of the occupation forces to accomplish its aggressive objectives of displacing people and undermining their steadfast determination. He also urged to increase the delivery of aid and relief to all areas of the blockaded enclave, where the Israeli military campaign since 7th October 2023 has killed more than 47,000 people and displaced most of its population. Tens of thousands of Palestinians began returning to northern Gaza as part of the ceasefire deal between Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas that came into effect on 19th January. Thousands of Palestinians began returning to the northern Gaza Strip beginning yesterday as part of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Palestinian freedom fighter group Hamas that came into effect on 19th January. Anadolu Agency reported that thousands of people moved on foot towards northern Gaza through the coastal Al-Rashid Street as of 7 a.m. local time. Palestinian social media activists uploaded footage of people chanting and celebrating while returning to their areas. The Gaza Media Office has said earlier that people could move to northern Gaza on foot, not via vehicles, through the coastal street as of 7 a.m. It added that people could also move to northern Gaza from central and southern Gaza via vehicles, not on foot, through Salahuddin Street, eastern Gaza, as of 9 a.m. Colombia sent an aircraft to repatriate its citizen living in the United States after being forced by Donald Trump to back down in a blazing row over deportations. President Gustavo Petro on Sunday stepped back from the brink of a full-blown trade war with the United States after Trump threatened Colombia with sanctions and massive tariffs for turning back 2 military plane load of deported migrants. The Colombian Foreign Ministry said Monday that a Colombian Air Force plane would leave Bogota in the afternoon for the U.S. city of San Diego to repatriate 110 Colombians. The ministry said that there would be medical staff on board and that a second Colombian aircraft would leave on a similar mission in the coming days. Petro was the first Latin American leader to defy Trump over his plans for mass deportations, vowing that he would only accept migrants returned on civilian flights who were not treated like criminals. During the first week of Donald Trump's administration in the United States, Mexico received around 4,000 deported migrants, mostly Mexicans. Its President Claudia Sheinbaum said so far there hasn't been a substantial increase in expulsions. She explained that these numbers are consistent with the usual register of national deported from the neighboring country. According to government figures, more than 190,000 people were deported to Mexico from January to November 2024, meaning more than 17,200 per month. Sheinbaum confirmed that Mexico had received 4 planes with deported individuals in the week of 20 to 26 January, following Trump's assumption of office, who has promised a historic deportation of undocumented foreigners. The Republican also threatened to apply tariffs, likely starting on 1st February, to Mexico and Canada, his partners in the North American Trade Agreement USMCA, unless they stop the flow of migrants and drugs through their borders. The government of both countries are in talks on the migrant issue, which may extend to other bilateral matters. The Rwandan government evacuated UN staff members and their families from the Democratic Republic of Congo Tuesday in response to escalating violence as rebel group M23 swept through the country. Evacuees were taken to Kigali Pele Stadium before being moved to various hotels by bus. Rwandan-backed rebels marched into eastern Congo's largest city, Goma, on Monday, and the UN said they were supported by at least some regular Rwandan troops in the worst escalation of a long-running conflict for more than a decade. Hundreds of thousands of people displaced by recent fighting or earlier conflict have sought refuge in Goma and in surrounding camps. The arrival of M23 rebels in the city risks causing a new displacement and humanitarian crisis. Still to come, Nvidia loses nearly $600 billion in value as Chinese AI firm jolts tech shares.
In 2025, Malaysia opens its doors to ASEAN, a celebration of unity and culture, bringing every moment of ASEAN 2025 to you, only on RTM.
A boat full of tourists capsized on a river in southern Chile over the weekend, killing at least 6 of the 34 people on board. Authorities said the vessel with 32 passengers and 2 crew had set out from the southern city of Osorno on Sunday and sank in the Rio Negro just short of its final destination, the Pacific port of Bahia Mansa. The Chilean Navy informed there were 6 people confirmed dead and 1 missing. Local media reported that most passengers were part of a group of 21 family members. The Provincial Prosecutor's Office in Osorno issued a statement indicating that the boat was over its load capacity, lacked appropriate safety equipment, and the captain had violated protocol by not being accompanied by a trained boat operator. According to testimonies of the survivors, the vessel struck rocks due to an engine malfunction, causing it to capsize. The captain of the boat has been arrested. Prosecutors say the boat was overladen and several passengers were not wearing a life jacket. More than 200 British companies have made the permanent switch to a 4-day working week with no loss in salaries. Now, this marks the latest milestone in a campaign to change the way British people work. The companies range from marketing agencies, IT firms and consultancies to those in the charity sector and collectively employ more than 5,000 people. The campaign director of the 4-Day Week Foundation, Joe Ryle, said the 5-day working weeks was invented 100 years ago and is no longer fit. Instead, his organisation is pushing for a 4-day week with the same pay and benefits as those working 5 out of every 7 days. The 4-Day Week Foundation's campaign, by contrast, aims to promote people's well-being over hours spent at work. A new poll by Spark Market Research suggested that 78% of 18 to 34-year-olds believe a 4-day working week will become the norm within 5 years, while 65% said they do not want to see a return to full-time office working. A compliant police officer was the most heavily sentenced on Monday in the case of fraudulent proxy votes that tainted the 2020 municipal elections in Marseille. The court also acquitted one of the 2 politicians who had been prosecuted. 13 individuals, including 2 former right-wing sector mayors, a police commander, civil servants, activists and a former nursing home director, had appeared in court for establishing a fraudulent proxy voting systems to benefit the right-wing candidate Martine Vassal, who herself was not prosecuted. Roland Chervais, the compliant police officer, was sentenced to 3 years in prison, one of which to be served under the house arrest with an electronic bracelet. Chervais had validated 194 proxy votes, including about 50 in the names of nursing home residents, mostly nonagenarians and almost all suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Despite very harsh requests for a sentence, former right-wing deputy and former mayor of the 6th sector, Julien Ravier, was acquitted because no material evidence had established his participation in the fraudulent system. The former politician had consistently claimed during the trial that he knew nothing about it, blaming his campaign team. The New Zealand government is relaxing visitor visa rules, its latest effort to boost tourism and economic growth. This is to allow tourists to work remotely for their foreign employers while visiting the country. The government is making the country more attractive to digital nomads, people who work remotely while travelling, such as IT specialists. Economic Growth Minister Nicola Willis said this will help boosting New Zealand's attractiveness as a destination. Tourism in New Zealand's second largest export earner, generating revenue of almost $6.26 billion and creating nearly 200,000 jobs. Anyone who intends to work remotely for more than 90 days should look at the possible tax implications. However, visitors whose employment requires them to be in New Zealand must still obtain visas relevant to their circumstances. This including individuals working as sales representatives or overseas companies, performers, and people coming to work for New Zealand employers. US chipmaker Nvidia led a rout in tech stocks on Monday after the emergence of a low-cost Chinese generative AI model. The new chatbot is seen as a potential threat to American dominance in the fast-growing industry. Developed by DeepSeek, it has shown the ability to match the capacity of a US AI for a fraction of the investments made by American companies. Shares in Nvidia, whose semiconductors power the AI industry, fell nearly 17% on Wall Street, erasing nearly $600 billion of its market value. The tech-rising Nasdaq index finished down more than 3%. DeepSeek, whose chatbot became the top-rated free application on Apple's US App Store, said it spent only $5.6 million developing its model. The amount is considered peanuts when compared with the billions of US tech giants have poured into AI. The Hangzhou-based startup on Monday said it was limiting the registration of new users due to large-scale malicious cyber attacks on its services. On a related note, Donald Trump said the technology developed by the Chinese startup DeepSeek should spur American companies. He said the companies in China had created a more cheaper and faster method of artificial intelligence AI.
This is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas, we're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with, hopefully, the same solution.
Investors sold technology stocks across the globe yesterday over concerns the emergency of a low-cost Chinese artificial intelligence model would threaten the dominance of the current US-based AI leaders. Trump said Chinese leaders had told him the United States had the most brilliant scientists in the world, and he indicated that if Chinese industries could come up with a cheaper AI technology, US companies would follow. On another matter, Donald Trump said that he was engaged in discussions with several individuals regarding the acquisition of the TikTok and anticipated making a decision about the future of the widely used application within 30 days.
I've spoken to many people about TikTok, and there's great interest in TikTok. And as you know, I have the right to sell it or close it, depending on what I think is best for the country.
According to earlier reports from Reuters, two individuals familiar with the negotiations indicated that the Trump administration is developing a strategy to preserve TikTok. This plan includes collaboration with the software company Oracle and a consortium of external investors to assume control over the app's operation. Under the deal being negotiated by the White House, TikTok's China-based owner ByteDance would retain a stake in the company, but data collection and software updates would be overseen by Oracle. However, Trump said he had not spoken to Oracle's Larry Ellison about buying the app. When questioned about the possibility of forming a deal with Oracle and other investors to rescue TikTok, Trump responded there's no deal with Oracle. He added many significant individuals are in discussions regarding a potential purchase, and Trump expects to make decision within the 30 days. In sports, Neymar ends contract with Al Hilal. Stay with us.
Abang, tolong belikan makanan sekejap.
Jangan risau, zaman sekarang senang dah. Beli online je.
Abang, tolong belikan sayur.
Online je.
Bang, tolong pergi PBT, bayarkan cukai tak siran boleh?
Bayar cukai tak siran? Hello?
Apa? Kali mati saya pagi tadi saya balik sendiri, lepas tu saya kena kompor. Saya tak sempat pergi bayar untuk kompor dia punya pejabat. Tolonglah, Pak.
Minta tolong bayarkan sewa premis saya. Saya tak ada masa nak pergi. Nanti wang saya ganti balik. Kau meng lah.
Macam mana nak bayar ni? Notifikasi pun dah masuk. Jangan dah lewat dah ni. Kaunter bayaran pun dah nak tutup.
Jangan risau. Zaman sekarang semua benda dah senang. PBT sekarang dah ada dalam aplikasi telefon bimbit. Kalau nak muat turun aplikasi ni pun, hanya perlu pergi ke Play Store ataupun Apple Store. Lepas tu korang type je PBT Pay. Sedang mendaki, sedang mengembara. Siang, malam, jangan risau. Dalam aplikasi PBT Pay ni, anda boleh membuat pembayaran, cukai taksiran, kompaun, sewaan permis dan bil pelbagai dalam sekelip mata melalui telefon bimbit sahaja. Senang je kan? PBT Pay, perkukuh pendigitalan PBT. Malaysia. Aksi kini kembali, setiap pasukan terus gagah berdiri, mempertahan maruah, mencipta sejarah, tidak tentara saja, terus memburu
Satu perjuangan, satu sorakan kemenangan. Tiada mencari buruan, hanya di RT. Rakan bergiat, rakan berniat, hanya di RT. Rakan bergiat, rakan bergiat.
Kicking off our sports segment this afternoon, Neymar on Monday ended his injury-plagued 18-month stay in Saudi Arabia as Al Hilal said they had agreed to terminate the player's contract by mutual consent. The 32-year-old former Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain forward played just 7 times since joining the club in August 2023, despite a reported salary of around $104 million a year. Neymar, the subject of what is still the biggest transfer in football history when he joined Paris Saint-Germain from Barcelona in 2017 for a fee of €220 million, joined Al Hilal in August 2023. He followed fellow superstars Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema to the lucrative Saudi League. But 2 months after his arrival in Riyadh, he ruptured a cruciate ligament in his left knee while playing for Brazil in a World Cup qualifier in October 2023, which kept him on the sidelines for a year. He returned for Al Hilal with 2 brief appearances in October and November, but injured a hamstring and has not played since. He said he was aiming to play in the 2026 in the US, Canada and Mexico. While Neymar had been curated by MLS in the United States, reports in Brazil said Santos, the club where Neymar made his name in his now fading career, was in talks for him to return to his homeland. A return to Brazil would likely be the last chance for a player who is his country's all-time leading scorer with 79 goals in 127 matches. Meanwhile, league leaders Al Hilal suffered a stunning 2-1 loss away to Al-Qadsiya in Dammam on Monday. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was on target twice, delivering the home team the opening goal just 2 minutes into the match and the winner in the final minutes of second half stoppage time. Al-Qadsiya drew the first blood through a short corner routine was placed by Aubameyang from inside the penalty area. Marcos Leonardo scored the leveller 5 minutes after half-time kick-off with a sweeping strike into the bottom left-hand corner. As the game seems to be finished in a draw, Aubameyang popped up with the winner after being slipped by Julian Quinones deep into the stoppage time. Al Hilal remain at the top of the standings only because Al Ittihad also lost their match on Monday, losing 2-1 away to Damak. Both teams are on 43 points after 17 matches, with Al Hilal ahead on goal difference. Spain coach Luis de la Fuente has signed a contract extension that will keep him in his post until Euro 2028. De la Fuente must first negotiate the qualifiers for the 2026 World Cup tournament, which will be held in US, Canada and Mexico before the Euros in Britain and Ireland. Under the 63-year-old's guidance, Spain won all 7 matches to claim the 2024 European Championship title with a 2-1 victory over England in the final. De la Fuente began coaching Spain's youth teams in 2013, starting with under-19s before guiding the under-23s to a silver medal at the Tokyo Olympics. He was named the senior team's manager in 2022, leading them to the Nations League title the following year. Nations League champions Spain visit the Netherlands on March 20th in the first leg of the quarter-finals. The outcome of the ties decides which World Cup qualifying section teams are in, with the winners put in the groups of 4. Juventus have signed Portugal defender Renato Veiga on loan from Chelsea until the end of the season, the Serie A club said on Monday. The versatile 21-year-old joined Chelsea from FC Basel on a 7-year deal in July for a reported €14 million, but has started only 1 Premier League match this season. Veiga joins a Juventus side 5th in the Serie A, 2 points behind 4th place Lazio, but 16 adrift of leaders Napoli. Veiga will hope for more opportunities at Juventus, who have struggled with injuries in defence. Gleison Bremer and Wan Kabal are out with anterior cruciate ligament injuries, while Danilo left the club by mutual agreement on Monday. The 33-year-old leaves Juve with 1 Serie A title, 2 Italian Cups and 1 Italian Super Cups to his name from 213 appearances with the Turin Giants. Italian media report that Danilo, whose contract had been due to expire at the end of the season, will return home on a 2-year deal with Flamengo. He leaves after falling out of favour following the arrival of Thiago Motta as coach in the summer and losing his captaincy to Italy midfielder Manuel Locatelli. Jasprit Bumrah was named the ICC Men's Test Cricketers of the Year for 2024 after the Indian pace spearhead produced his best annual haul in the red ball format. The 31-year-old seam bowling genius topped the wicket-taking charts in the Test cricket last year with a 71 from 13 matches, 19 more than second-place Gus Atkinson of England, having returned from a back injury in late 2023. Despite being on the losing side in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia, Bumrah finished the 5-match Test series, which concluded earlier in January, with 32 wickets at an average of 13.06 and was the obvious choice for the Player of the Series award. Bumrah beat England duo Harry Brook and Joe Root, as well as Kamindu Mendis of Sri Lanka, to win the prestigious award. The last Indian cricketer to win it was Bate Virat Kohli in 2018. Alright, so that's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, displaced Palestinians making their way home in northern Gaza, marking first such return since October 2023. Do join us again this evening at 8:30 p.m. on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM for more news, or you can always stream us online on RTM Click's website and mobile app. I'm Shuhaida Arifin from River to the Sea. Palestine will be free. Goodbye and thank you for watching.